I don't even, when everything's wrecked, why does even The Guardian bother with, exclusive, Rishi Rich doesn't sit around in pain, he just goes and pays 250 quid?
I would really like to know, because I honestly think that the so-called journalists that we're really cursed with in this country, I would say, they just get more embarrassing by the second. What do you expect, right?
Yeah.
Rishi Sunak is richer than the king. Do you really think he's going to sponge off a health service with millions on waiting lists when he can literally afford to get something better? Why are you screaming and crying about this and not about the ghastly cost of net zero, for example, or the fact that our rights were torn away from us and still are, or about the fact that there are countless people that are being injured or being killed by the vaccines that they helped push.
Right.
These are all very important things, but instead they focus on the fact that a billionaire is not using the NHS. And let's just be clear, there is no Prime Minister that has not been able to afford private healthcare. If they do say that they've used the NHS, it's to simply virtue signal and to create the illusion that we're all in this together, when, you know, you'd have to have half a brain cell to know that we're not all in this together. What do they expect? It's confusing at this point.
Well, it's so weird because at the same time as, shock horror, he's not sitting in A&E waiting to be seen for 3.5 days. At the same time they're doing that, they show them all capering and gallivanting in the fancy Sharm el-Sheikh and then in Bali as a class apart. So we're being asked to accept the fact that our rulers are so ingenious and so
important
elite.
that they need to get private jets everywhere. They're different from us, but not when it comes to the saintly NHS that you know, those at the Guardian were actually very happy to completely shut down, and we're all being locked inside of our homes. Not for the NHS. And this just goes to show how easy we can all be brainwashed, because even throughout the pandemic, the NHS was upheld as this sort of deity that we all must worship and never question. So of course, in order to
but literally, so I mean, people, it's like basically prostrating yourself in the direction of Mecca. The British people actually every Thursday prostrated themselves in the direction of the NHS.
And if you dare to criticise the NHS, it's akin to blasphemy. You'll be publicly hung, drawn, and quartered. That's how insane we are about it. And then, in order to score some sort of cheap point that they know the brainwashed will jump on, they pump this out as if it's an actual story. And it's just not.